Instagram. Just going to wait for you guys to tune in on YouTube and Facebook. How's everyone doing? How are y'all doing? Sorry, I tuned in late, but let's jump right into it. This is your first time, welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from so I can give you a shout out. My name is Aisha Chidole, and I'm an immigration lawyer here in the United States, and I help applicants with their family immigration, humanitarian-based cases like FAWA, U visas, trafficking, T visas, removal of conditions, appeals, and things like that. Good morning, Evermary Choma. Good morning. I see someone on here says, I have a case I need help with. Sure, give me a call. Our number here is 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 678-325-1037. Okay, so some things that I want to talk about today, of course, some of the things that you guys may have heard about. First of all, I want to talk about the 19 countries. Let me just see if I can pull up the list of 19 countries of concern. I did post this on my page as well, and how that plays. I've gotten a few questions, about people asking, what are the 19 countries? I'm sure you guys know what happened this weekend. The National Guard, which is what kind of created a double down. So just give me a second, and I'm going to pull up the countries so I can list all the countries of concern. And for those of you who are in the United States applying, so this essentially what they're saying, or at least what we assume they're saying, because a lot of these things we're getting them as they come, and until we actually see how they're doing decisions, we can't. It's hard basically to assess. So for those who are applying for adjustment of status, meaning you're already in the United States, if you're from those countries, they're going to look at it as a negative factor. It doesn't mean they're going to deny your case per se. It's just going to be a negative factor amongst all of the things they're looking at. So meaning you have to be really extra solid. Your vetting has to be extra solid. Your good faith marriage has to be extra solid. Your history, your criminal record should be non-existent, and things like that. But again, I don't know how they're going to review it, because again, these are rules and new changes over the weekend. So it's hard to give you guys the changes until we actually see it put in place. If you're from outside the country, these countries don't even bother. Like, they will interview you, but you're not going to get approved right now. And so the countries are Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya. So for a lot of you that are Haitians, I know there are a lot of my clients, people that follow me who are Haitians, understand that, they're, again, as I said, they're going to be reviewing it in a negative light. From an adjustment of status standpoint. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to deny it, but if you're outside of the U.S., they have fully suspended both immigrant and non-immigrant visas if you're outside of the U.S., okay? There's Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo. So Sierra Leone right now, they're not, again, so they've some of the things that they've suspended are like your B1, B2, F visas, M visas, fiance visas. Again, if you're in the United States, reviewed in a negative light, but not necessarily a denial. Togo, Turkmenistan, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Venezuela, let's see, and that's it. So that's the list. So if you're from these countries, you want to make sure that, you have a lot of positive factors to, that are part of your application, and that you have a really, really, really solid case when you're applying for your case. Don't just apply just to apply. The other group or update or trends that we're seeing is for people who have filed a case before, especially those of you that try to do this yourself. As you guys know, like I don't like to create more fear mongering or whatever, because it's stressful enough. My job is very stressful. I'm dealing with high stress levels on a daily basis, seeing many people that you can save and that you cannot save. So I only bring things when I know it's a concern and it's actually something that we're seeing happen. For those of you who filed cases before, you've submitted it yourself, you better make sure you know what you're doing, because even if you were submit a new case, we're seeing that for some of those people, depending on when you were submitted, you will get an NTA. What is an NTA? It's a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge for deportation. If you had a previous denial, because what they're doing is that they're moving so quickly with those NTAs that they don't even allow you time to submit a new petition, so that's what we're seeing. Or especially if you go from one case and you're like, all right, let me quickly transfer to another case. So you really want to make sure that when you're submitting your case, that you're submitting an airtight, solid case. Guys, people with airtight, solid cases are getting denied and they're coming to us and we're shocked. Why is this person getting denied? Like it's such simple things that are getting people denied and being placed in deportation. Such simple things like, not submitting like your correct birth certificate, or like a full form birth certificate. Like maybe in some countries, like let me use South Africa, for instance. South Africa, where you have a short form birth certificate, and they have a full form, and you submit the short form and you get denied. They're literally going to deportation for that because they're overstays, even though they have a genuine marriage. That is why, guys, it is so important that you have an airtight submission. It's so important that you're not just, people are like, well, isn't it paperwork? Like, good luck to you. That's all I can say. Is if you think that's what it is, because you guys have no idea what is going on, in immigration right now. Is it normal for a work permit, wait for a work permit for 6 months in a marriage-based case? Yes, work permits take upwards of 11 months before it's considered late. Prior to that, you are in a normal processing time. Most people get their work permits between 4 to 11 months. Some people slightly early, but the average person will get it around 6.5, or 7 months. Right now, that's what we're seeing. We're even seeing some people get their interviews before their work permit or before their travel permit. So that's what we're seeing. Okay. If someone is already in jail and files for asylum, at what point are they still in jail? I don't understand your question. What do you mean jail? Are you talking of criminal jail or immigration detention? Like, I need a little bit more clarity on your question. Is it safe to travel to the home country on a T visa? I think you're saying on a T visa. If that's what you're saying, I wouldn't. I wouldn't travel until you get your green card. How long for VAR receipts in New York? Cash Queen, the answer to that is going to depend on when you submitted your immigration file. I see someone here that said that they submitted their VAWA application in August. I think the person even said that they might be our client and they've not yet received a receipt. Yeah, any cases that weren't submitted after September, when they changed the new file and addresses, fall under the normal timelines now that are taking 120 days to 150 days to get receipts, which is literally the reason why they created all those new processing centers, to be able to process those quicker. But those cases that were submitted before they created the processing centers in September are taking a long time for them to be received, unfortunately. Okay, let me see what other questions you guys have here. I'm from New York. My country of origin is on the list, and I have a pending VAWA case. I had a common card 1 year ago. Is it going to affect my case? So the answer is there's no telling, So again, it's viewed as a negative factor if you're in the United States, but it's not an automatic denial. It's not like when you're outside of the US. So saying that it's viewed as a negative factor, it's like what I talked about last week, where with a public charge, there's certain things like they kind of rank it like negative, 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 positive, positive, positive. How much positivity do you have in your application for them to say they'll approve it? So it's not an absolute no or an absolute yes. It's just how the officer is going to view that in totality with the rest of your application and what you contribute to the United States, and what your case is about, your family ties in the US, and, all of that stuff. Again, it is really new, guys. This also just came out during Thanksgiving. So today's Tuesday, meaning Monday is the only day, really, which is yesterday. So it's hard for any of us, in the legal profession to really tell you how they're going to weigh that negative factor until we start to see some trends, or we start to have some of our clients in those categories, see what happens. But what I'm going to pay special attention to right now is my clients from some of those countries to see how those cases are going to be reviewed. What I do expect, though, is that people from those countries at adjustment of status, you're going to see that your cases are going to take longer, most likely to process because of the extended vetting that they're going to be doing from those countries. Okay, so let me see. This is a continuation of a question, so I'm not really sure if I can see the rest of your question. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking for how long until you get an update on the I-75. I'm not really sure what that form is. Do you mean the I-751? I don't know if that's what you mean and what stage you are in it. So if you can just clarify. Someone on YouTube said, my friend filed for VAWA in 2022. She received 2 work permits, but no response to the I-485. Is that normal? So Keisha, what you need to do is to find out what class are the work permits that your friend received. If she, so she filed in 2022. In 2022, that was before the 5-year work permit, which was a 2-year work permit. So is this a renewal, or did she recently get just another work permit? So that's the first thing. Secondly, you want to confirm the work permit you received. And that's why it's hard to answer questions to cases that I didn't file, because I don't know your immigration history and what exactly or what stage you are in your VAWA. But if her work permit says C31, which she would have received, she should be receiving now, they're processing VAWA cases from 2022. So if she has that, a C31 means that her VAWA case was approved. And that would usually come before the 485 decision. So they first of all have to approve the VAWA, and then they move it over to the field office to process the 485. So if her category on her EAD says, let me just check, let me tell you where it is. I have one EAD on my desk right now. Let's see. So it's usually on the right side of the actual card, and it's going to say C09 or C31. Okay. So if it is on C09, then it means that she just has her 485 pending. If it is on C31, it means that her VAWA was approved. So, okay, you're saying it's a renewal. So if it's a renewal, then they've now made a decision on her case right now. So it just depends. Arnold Weeks says, do you do cases if someone gets detained or is in ICE? My off-counsel, an off-counsel to a firm who works with clients at our firm handles it for our clients' behalf. So it would depend on the location and what's going on, what they're being charged with. So yeah, you can call us to get you scheduled with either of the two ladies. Someone is asking about asylum. Right now is not the best time to apply for asylum. And as I'm sure you saw this weekend, they have put a pause on all asylum decisions, meaning they're not approving any case. They're not making any determination on any case right now. Most likely, asylum cases, you will get an interview within 45 days, and they will either put you in detention or deportation proceedings. And then that's where the decision will be decided. So I wouldn't, Unless, yeah, I wouldn't anyway. I don't handle asylum cases, by the way. So you might want to speak to an asylum attorney. Can a 10-year green card holder travel to Canada? Yes, a 10-year green card holder can travel to Canada as long as you don't have any criminal records. You should be fine. If your spouse doesn't want to go with you to an interview, what can you do? Not a good place to be. You want to immediately get screened to see if you're eligible for VAWA. Honestly, right now, in the past, I would say VAWA abeyance would be the best route, but sometimes we have to roll the dice and see which option is better, because, you know, sometimes there is kind of appears that they're intentionally like delaying certain receipts where they know clients have abeyance cases, so that it will be a basis for them to deny that 485. So sometimes it might be better to just file a new VAWA in 485 at the same time and then withdraw the other case. But again, you have to be screened first to know that you're actually eligible for another case type if your spouse is not going to go with you to the interview. Because if your spouse doesn't go with you to the interview, the default is that you will be denied. My VAWA case is over a year, and I'm yet to receive any responses. A year is not a long time at all. It takes 3 years for most VAWA cases. So you're still in a normal process in time. Hopefully, you should have gotten your prima facie determination letter. If it's been a year and you haven't gotten that, that's an area of concern and something that you should definitely look into. Abigail says, my husband is in Nigeria. I filed for him. Can this affect him? For Nigeria right now, shockingly, Nigeria, knock on wood, Nigeria is not on the countries with the 19 countries of concern. And the reason why I say shockingly is because in President Trump's first administration, Nigeria was on the ban list. As of right now, it is not on the ban list, and hopefully they continue to do whatever vetting it is that they're requiring of them so that they will not get on the banned list. So you can still file for your spouse. Oh, hey, Princess. Princess Abigail says, hi, beautiful. I'm happy now. Working as a nurse, you changed my life. One day I was crying, and now you changed my life with my VAWA. I am so happy to hear that. I love that. I love to see former clients and see how well they are doing now with life. You know, guys, you know, I know it's really tough right now, you know, and we're all in this together, you know, not just you immigrants, those of us in the legal field, we're in it with our clients. Like, you know, someone asked me the other day, what does it feel like to be an immigration lawyer in this time? And I was like, it's like, imagine doctors that worked in the ER during COVID. That's what it feels like. You're constantly triaging. It's really hard, like, to even have like a concentrated focus in preparing certain cases, because there's an emergency, there's an NTA, there's someone is in detention, there's this, there's that, there's just so much going on. So I definitely empathize with all of you guys going through this. You know, this too shall pass, but more importantly, you want to really make sure that you're not submitting arbitrary applications. I cannot stress this enough, guys. Do not just submit an application to submit an application. Your application has to be really solid, guys. Like, I am telling you, take it from me. Like I always say, you can hire whoever you want to hire. You don't have to hire me, but don't put yourself in a position of, you want to always start strong. You always want to start strong, you know, in your application, and have all your ducks in a row, and you're dotting all your I's, crossing all your T's, because, you know, these guys are out for blood. So because of that, you really want to be airtight. You really want to use the foot soldiers who are seeing the trends and who are saying, you know, you can file this or you cannot file this. You know, and sometimes some people get upset, you know, when you say, you know, you can't file this, or you're not eligible, or you're missing this element. We're literally trying to preserve you from trauma, you know, sometimes, you know, and if we say you should file this and we're asking for X, Y, and Z, don't get upset and say, oh, you're asking for too much information. The more information you provide, where an officer doesn't have to ask any question, and you lay it before the officer, the easier it is for them to make a decision and approve your case. So guys, stop coming to lawyers when it's too late. Stop coming to us after your case has been denied because you tried it yourself and now it's like, fix it, fix it, fix it. Because in this administration, whether or not you have a criminal record, sometimes we can't even get to the fix before you're in front of an immigration judge. Just do it right the first time. Okay? Like, I hate sounding like I'm, a school teacher, but I almost feel like I have to remind y'all all the time about this. Okay. Yes, this administration is making it so hard. Of course they are. And this was actually how it was in the previous Trump 1.0 administration. I think what we're seeing different this time is a lot of social media use that they're using to post a lot of what they're doing, breaking windows, like, using songs and showing, yeah, we're coming for you. And so that is, it's a psychological warfare, and to create that fear and pandemonium, which only the strong survive. But, back then, I'm sure you guys remember the kids that were caged. People were going into deportation left, right, and center. There was the talk of there was the wall building. So like a lot of this is no different. It's just, it's amplified in just how it's being publicized, and obviously now more revenue to do that in terms of having more staff to do that. So because they're making it so hard, it's like an exam, right? If you have a professor that's very difficult in your math exam, you're going to study harder, right? So if you're going to study harder, then do what you need to do to work harder on getting that application properly submitted. Do whatever you have to do to make sure you are submitting a good, efficient, and thorough and good faith application to help yourself. Don't do it and then get denied and start panicking. They say a penny wise is a pound foolish. I'm getting some good stuff today. Good morning, Aisha. I appreciate you. My vow got approved November 18th. You did pray for me not to get an RFE, and I did not get it. 46 months, no RFE, 7 prima facies. Thank you. Yes. I'm so happy to hear that. That's good. See, you guys, 46 months. So for some people, it takes a long time, right? And as you can see, she didn't even get an RFE, right? But it still took a long time. It's so sometimes when you guys think that we're just sitting in on your application, there's certain times that our hands are tied because that just is the timeline. But what is more important is no news to me is good news when we submit applications. In this administration, if there is no news and you're in normal processing time, according to what is published, is good news. But it's just, and I have found out, and you can ask a few of my staff and client. I always say this: the clients that are the most neurotic are the clients that random weird things happen with their cases. When you are patient, you trust God, and you come with a good energy, you will be successful in your application. I firmly believe that. Whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, Jewish, I believe in manifesting good energy and good vibes. When you say there is nothing going to go wrong with my application, when you're not like on our heads, like, because when you're doing that, you're making us like, oh my gosh, I need to get this file out. And so we're making mistakes, or things that shouldn't happen. Like, you need to just chill and allow us to do our jobs. Okay. Okay, one more accolade because I am getting a lot today. I'm saying she's right. Remember, I paid a lawyer for my case. After 1 year, I never received any response. Changed my case to you, which that hurt me. Now I'm happy. Remember one day I called the office and I started crying. Her husband, which is my husband, told her to be patient. Things will get better. Listen, my dears, I'm so happy. It's so good. You guys, I'm so happy to hear this from other people who have had good results, guys. Again, it's nobody saying the journey is not easy. I see PVT Ryan saying it's hard. It is hard, but you guys, you will get through it. Just do things the right way. Stay prayed up, and stay out of trouble. I can't believe I have to say that, but I have to keep saying that. Like, stay out of trouble. Like, Don't go getting a broken taillight or speeding or doing all that when you know that you don't have your papers together, because you're creating a chance for you to be deported on your own. Guys, I am like super, look, see another person. My case was submitted November 21st, November 2021, and I got approved on January 20th, 2025. It was hard, but she got approved. So I hope you all are hearing that. I got to jump off. I'm very late to my next meeting, but I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.